Hello and welcome to another episode, people. So, as you can see, my Land Rover has a problem. We basically, at the moment here in Finland, have so much snow. Crazy amount of snow. So what did I think would be a good idea? Would be to use my four-wheel drive in these conditions. So the other evening when I was leaving from work, I engaged four-wheel drive on this and it couldn't even get up the hill. So basically what is happening is the four-wheel drive is not engaging. So for people who don't know, on these old Land Rovers you can switch between two-wheel drive, which drives the rear wheels, or four-wheel drive, obviously all four. And also on this Land Rover, previous owner has fitted these hub locks. So basically what the hub locks do is they disengage the front differential, etc., for when you are driving in two-wheel drive, so you're not spinning freely all the front differential and gears and everything. It's kind of bad explanation, but it basically saves on fuel and gives you a bit of power because it disengages the front. The front wheels just then spin freely. Anyway, so first of all, I did a little research and thought that maybe it was the selector that selects the four-wheel drive. And what I read on the internet was that if it's not engaged in four-wheel drive very often, the slide-in selector can get stiff or stuck and it won't engage. So what I basically did is I've jacked the front of the car up, I engaged the four-wheel drive, and you can feel on the prop shaft whether it engages or not. I'll show you in a minute. And it seems that the selector does work. So further investigation, I'll show you. Okay, if we come inside the cabin, we obviously have the gear lever, and then we have these two levers here. So there's actually instructions on the back here. So this one on the right, for normal driving conditions, you want it pushed forward. So this selects what they call high range. So it's a high range set of gears which are better for cruising, and you get a higher speed, driving speed, top speed, and it has like less towing power and not so good off-road. So when you go off-road, you want to select low range. So that has a neutral here, and then you pull it back to select the low range. So your top speed is greatly reduced and you have more like torque to get up rocky, well, off-road stuff. And then we also have here this yellow lever. So if you're basically driving in high range, it's two-wheel drive. The rear wheel drives are spinning or propelling you. And if you want to select four-wheel drive while you're in the high range gears, then you push down on this yellow lever and it doesn't pop all the way back up. So that means you're in four-wheel drive in high range. To deselect that, you basically pull this and you see that it pops back up again, and then you're in low range, which is permanent four-wheel drive. So like I said, normal driving conditions, I have it in the high range in two-wheel drive. So I've taken the middle seat out here, and you can see, maybe if I can get the camera in here, you can see when I push this lever down, you can see that that is the selector for four-wheel drive. So as I explained earlier, what I read online is that that mechanism can get stuck, and that's what I first thought had happened, that this hadn't been used for a long time when I bought it. So maybe that the selector is sticking. But so what I did is, you can see, is I jacked up the front wheels off the ground, and first of all I'm going to select it in two-wheel drive, and then I'll show you underneath. Okay, so looking underneath the vehicle, you can see this propeller shaft that goes all the way to the back rear diff there, driving the rear wheels. And there we have here, this is your handbrake, so there's like a drum brake for the handbrake. And then this big lump here, leaky lump here, is your transfer case, which selects four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. So if we work our way to the front from the transfer case, you will notice that there is a propeller shaft that goes to the front diff. So this basically disconnects when you're in two-wheel drive, so it stops driving the front wheels. So as I have it now in two-wheel drive, I can freely spin this prop shaft because obviously it's disconnected from the front wheels. So if we go back to the hub lockers, what happens is even though it's only the rear wheel drives, it's the rear wheels which is driving the car, what happens at the front here is when the wheels are spinning, it's still spinning the diff and the drive shafts at the front. So by having this on, by having this little lever here, you can disengage the front wheels, so it isolates basically the front wheels from anything, so they just spin freely, just like a rear wheel drive car. So there's nothing driving those. And then when you want to go into four wheel drive, you select it and then you spin these to engage them, and away you go, off-roading. Okay, so if we come back into the cabin, if I select the low range, like so, it is now in permanent four-wheel drive. So let's go under the car. So back underneath the car with four-wheel drive engaged, if I now spin this prop shaft by hand, you see I can't spin it because it's now connected to the rear, and obviously the rear wheel's on the ground, so that's why it won't spin. So now the front axle is engaged. My front wheels will still spin freely because I need to engage the hub lockers. So there's a little arrow on there, I don't know if you can see, lock or free. So if we turn it clockwise, which it already is, and the same the other side, okay, right, so now everything is engaged for four-wheel drive, the hub locks are on. If I now spin this, they shouldn't spin freely anymore. And because it's a differential, what that means is if I spin one wheel one way, the opposite side will spin the other direction. Well, it should. And as you can see, nothing's happening. And I've also spun the other side, so there's obviously, it's disconnected somewhere. So I'm not sure what the problem is yet, but I think it could either be a snapped drive shaft, meaning the shaft that goes from the differential to the wheel. If one of those is broken, that means the two front wheels won't drive. If you understand how a differential works, then you'll get what I mean. The other fault that it could be is that there's a fault with these hub locks. So I think I'm going to start there by taking one of these off. I have no idea what's inside it. This is all new to me, so I'm just making this up as I go along. So I'm going to take one of those off and see how it works, basically, and go from there. Okay, so I undid those, how many is there? 6 bolts, and it doesn't just come off. So I'm going to put 2 back in just to hold this in place, and then I'm going to undo these small Allen head bolts off and see if this end cap just comes off. So trying to get these 6 bolts out, only one of them willingly came out, and I've just given it a clean up. What I think has happened is that this looks like it's aluminium and these bolts are steel, so I think they have corroded together and made them really tight. Okay, maybe I come up with a solution. I actually hammered in a star drive piece and it came out really easy, so I'm gonna hopefully get them all out. So you can see that moves independently, and then there's this like spring that moves up and down the splines and must engage. I'll just move the camera for you. So when that fully depresses, I can actually feel, yeah, I can actually feel that that's connected now. So it's definitely was this sticky hub lock. So look, if I push this in, so that's supposed to engage when you turn the old Twizzly thing, and then I spin the wheel, can you see the other wheel is now engaged and turning the other way? So the problem was actually on this hub lock, and the other side seems to be working fine. I don't know why it's not engaging on here. Maybe this spring, I can see exactly why. You see that? It's actually broken. The little tab that is sticking up on this side, on the other side it's broken, so it's not actually engaging when you spin this. Okay, so how does this work exactly? I've just given this hub a quick cleanup. So you turn it clockwise to lock and anti-clockwise obviously to unlock. And what happens when you do that? So this is in the unlock position, so the spring is at the bottom, and when I turn it, this spring rides up on this thread here, and what that does, it in turn pushes in this gear here that then locks the hub to the drive shaft. And this is also spring loaded, so then when you unlock it, it should, yeah, like that, pops back out again. So basically what's happened is this had 3 of these like spring arms on here to push that gear in and out, and as you can see 2 of them have snapped off, so it wasn't engaging this gear into the hub. So yeah, I need to weigh up whether to replace these, because I had a quick look and they're about 300 euros, so they're not like ridiculously expensive. You have to kind of weigh up the time spent trying to make these old ones work, and if they're not reliable and I'm off-road somewhere and I need to rely on my 4-wheel drive, I would have wished I'd spent the 300 euros. So there you go, just a quick video of a bit of diagnosis there. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will do another video of how I rectified the problem and go from there. So please like and subscribe if you like the videos, and why not leave me a comment or any tips that you might have to, or what hub lockers I maybe should purchase, if you recommend any for a series Land Rover. Okay, until next time, cheers.